In my first professional conference, I was so excited presenting from my thesis work on the World Bank. And I introduced my study and I mentioned that the World Bank is the largest non-governmental funder of education around the world. And the first person put up their hand. Well, that's not really correct. It's not a non-governmental organization. And me being ready for the grilling that I was supposed to get at the end of my presentation, flatly disagreed with them. I said, no, you're wrong, it is. I can produce citations to prove this fact.
Are they right? Is there any chance that person could have been correct?
Absolutely. It's definitely not a non-governmental organization. But not only was I incorrect, but I made a fool out of myself in front of a packed room full of people, important people.
What would you say is your takeaway? What's your moral of this story?
The moral of the story is that you need to be open and willing to learn. The point of this is to not to defend your work so much as to be open to a conversation about it and be more than willing to say, yeah, maybe you're right and maybe I'm wrong. It's about learning and growing and becoming a better scholar at the end of the day.
So I was essentially delivering a talk in Indonesia at a conference, and I hadn't quite tested what I was wearing that day. So I was mid-talk and then I looked down and my button on my top, it burst open. I just, kind of turned and kind of did it up and went back to talking, and then the more I kept talking, the more I realized that it kept coming undone. And I eventually fixed it with duct tape.
That's awesome.
The moral of the story is to make sure you test what you wear before you actually
Well, the tape.
go in fruit. Yes.
A few years ago in New Orleans, I was part of a panel about innovation and research. And the chair who was introducing our session, she actually started off by introducing us and sharing our names, but then kind of rambling on about her own work. So we were just kind of sitting there and squirming in our seats because we noticed that this was going on, and by the time she was done, 20 minutes had gone by. She wasn't picking up on any of our social cues, like so yeah, it did actually cut into our presentation time, and we had to modify stuff on the spot. It was a bit nerve-wracking, as you can imagine. So this would be kind of a lesson on how not to chair a session. It's sort of an example of how you want to think of being an opening act to a presentation rather than the headlining show.
Oh yeah, this is another good conference story. So I introduced myself to help people remember my name. My name is Jenny Phillips, and so I always get called Jenny from the block. So I put up a picture of Jennifer Lopez. I said, okay, so my name is Jenny, like Jenny from the block. And I put up a picture of a Phillips head screwdriver. But guess what I was called for the rest of the conference? Jenny Screwdriver. So that didn't go over that well.
It was cute though, it was a good idea.
I thought it was a good idea, and then it backfired quite quickly.
Undergrad, I was a little keen, to be real with you. Wanted to get into these conferences, to establish a name for myself, get into a grad program. So being this young, timid undergrad, was a little nervous, a little scared to do this presentation. Chair announces my name, I get up to go. Take 2 steps, trip over all of the AV stuff. So I'm scrambling around, trying to plug everything back together. I guess if there's a moral to the story, nothing would ever be as bad as that for I guess, a beginning presenter. So if I can get over that, I'm sure whatever mistakes, whatever happens, they're gonna be fine.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Cam.
You're welcome.
Can I just start? Are we going? Is that how it works?
So,
Get this.
Oh, hi!
give me a high five for that.
High five.
Undergrad, well done.
Undergrad, right?
Is this good?
So I was a Let's start again.
Cut.
I know.
Come up.